And I think that means we're going to be live. And I need to mute my computer. Such a professional here. My apologies. We have been dealing with some family catastrophes going on here. And yeah, it's been, of course, immediately before the live stream starts. How's everybody doing? Hopefully we can get a audio video check here. I know we're probably 15 or so, 20 seconds lag. I see Candy is getting on people for talking politics. Yeah, we ain't doing that in this chat. Thank you, Candy. Yeah, no political talk here. This is what we use to get away from the political talk, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. So hopefully,
I'm finally on.
Okay, well, we can start this party now. Lisa is on. So yes, welcome back. We missed you last week. I definitely missed you last week.
I was in the chat.
I know. My ears are popping for some reason right now.
Mods, whew, boy, did they have their work cut out for them last week. I'm so sorry.
I did not even know that was going on in the chat because with it being just me, I was not able to look down at the chat pretty much at all. And apparently there was some shenanigans going on. I apologize for that. People saying some ridiculous things, but you know, this is the world we are in right now. People go online and they say ridiculous things, and it is what it is. But we don't have time for all that today because we've got so many things to talk about. Even though this house is crashing down right now, we've got plenty of things to talk about. Not gonna do a whole big thing like advertising our channel and all that kind of, or not our channel, but our website. I don't really think I need to, because this week, if you don't know already, we did a pretty daggone big thing this week. We launched the betas for sale. I'm saying betas now, and you don't like it, but that's what I'm doing.
Such a weirdo.
I'm trying my best. I probably will slip every once in a while and say beta, just, you know, it is what it is. The funny thing though, after that video, not the live stream where I said beta 50 times, but during the video or comments on the video, I think there were 2 people that said something along the lines of, it's beta, not beta. Isn't that funny? For years, I've been saying beta, and people have been yelling at me over and over and over again. And as soon as I say beta, because I feel like I'm doing the right thing, I get yelled at for saying beta. You should be saying beta. This world we live in is a wonderful place.
I agree. Say beta.
It's not easy.
No, I know.
You know, it sounds weird. I don't like the way it feels when I say it. It's a weird thing, but I will get used to it. And you know, it is what it is. I do feel like it is the right thing, even though until, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I never heard it pronounced anything other than beta.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everybody was saying beta, and I was like, oh man, have I been saying this the wrong way all my life? But anyway, enough on that, because all we're doing is fueling people continuing to make fun of me for that.
Sorry, laundry.
The beta betas are for sale on our website now. I would show you the stack because it's right here, but I don't want to do that because that would be weird. The response has been nothing short of overwhelming.
Yes,
Absolutely unbelievable, and we're so excited about it. When you do something like this, there's gonna be those people though that are gonna complain. You know, they're too expensive. This, that. But that has been overwhelmingly negated by the fact that the response has been so overwhelmingly positive. Can't thank everyone enough.
Absolutely.
And shame on me. I'm going to look through here and find it because I know the first name, and it should be, it's just absolutely out of control. I'll find it at some point during this stream, but I wanted to shout out the first person to order. And it's funny because I can find it. It's no big deal. We put the
and it was my favorite one, the one I posted on my Instagram page. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and my favorite one sold second. So here's what happened, folks. This is what's funny. We put the betas, along, like a week and a half ago. I started putting them up, but they weren't for sale yet. They were there. You could see them. You could watch the videos, but you couldn't buy them yet. And it was Tuesday morning that we pushed the button to make them all for sale. And like the screen hadn't even refreshed yet. And somebody put in an order for the one that you were talking about. It was instantaneous. It was weird. It was almost like they had some weird kind of system installed on their computer to alert them when we did it. It was bizarre because I hadn't even been able to get back to our homepage yet on the back end of our website, and bloop, you got an order and it's for this fish.
And it was so funny because I was like, no, refund them.
Yeah, but you didn't want to sell that one. Yeah.
I didn't want to get rid of that one. And then the next 7 that Lefty bought, I was like,
that was probably a minute and a half after we put them up. I mean, both of these people, Lefty.
He must have had his boxes already checked.
Yep. Lefty, lots of numbers. And I'm going to find that name as soon as you start talking. I'm going to find that name of the first person that put it. It's Kayla, I believe, is the first name, but I don't remember the last name. But I'll find out and make sure that I shout that out. But there were, folks, we sold so many bettas over the last 3 days. It's absolutely out of control. We got a bunch more in, and we've got a monster shipment coming. And I think you're crazy for getting 300.
Stop.
300.
I mean, I'm up taking care of them nonstop. And I tell you, it's been a little bit, I think the reason why I want to use the word overwhelming is because getting it started, you have to get everything started and get like a system going and get the process going. But once you do it, it's so much easier. But I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. And it's a great diet plan because I'm in there so much in this heat. It's like crazy hot, and I don't want to eat all day. So it's like I'm doing something I enjoy and losing weight. It's a win-win.
That room is about 80 degrees. If you watched that video that I did on Tuesday, you saw me sweating like a pig in that video. And it was because it's 80 degrees in there. And when I start moving around, and it's probably 76 degrees on this side of the basement. I've got 2 fans blowing on me as we speak. It's pretty brutal, but you know what?
And it's so funny because I'll go through and I clean all the tanks out, and I'll feed them first, and then I clean the tanks out. And then I'll walk by the first rack, and I'm like, oh, you pooped again? So I got to get it out because I cannot stand them having anything in their tank. It has to be perfect. So
all right, let me see this here because I think I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing because I thought it is Kayla. I hope I'm saying it right. Abed is the last name.
right.
I can't imagine any other way of spelling it. Abed. Kayla, thank you so much for that, and I do want to reach out to her for being the first one to order one of our bettas. But then
my favorite one,
Lefty 3213A came in 4 minutes later and ordered 7, including one of my favorite ones.
Oh yeah,
the
Koi
blue.
Galaxy number 8.
Yep, we knew exactly.
Gorgeous.
I mean, as soon as we got that one out of the bag, we were like, that one's going to go quick. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. So, yeah, anyway, overwhelming. I mean, that's why I don't really have a whole lot prepared for today's stream. I wish I did, but I don't. But we're going to have fun anyway. We got plenty of things that we can talk about, and it's not going to be all talking about our website. But if you don't know what we're talking about, we are selling live betas, or you may call them betas. Either way you say it is fine by us. I think you're right either way. But anyway, we are selling them on our website now. They are on there. These are not the same betas that you can find at your big box stores, folks. These are like show quality, high-end betas that are not cheap. I'm just being straight up with you. They're not. We haven't really had too many people complain in the about the prices of them. There are some people like, woo, expensive, but you're going to get that no matter what.
Yeah.
But they're certainly not overpriced, but they're also not really super duper cheap either. So just know that going in. But that is on there right now, keepfishkeeping.com. In case you're wondering, click on live betas for sale and have all kinds of fun. Every single fish that's on there has a photo of the actual fish and a video of the actual fish that's for sale. Tell me who else is doing that. I don't know who else is doing that. I have been absolutely killing myself over the last 2 weeks trying to figure out the best way to do those videos. And after spending $450, I realized I'm going to be getting that money back because the easiest way to do it is with my iPhone.
Yep.
And the best quality comes from my iPhone. Who'd have thought? So, but that's how we're doing it with the videos for every single fish. So when you go on there, you're not just looking at a picture of a random fish. You're looking at the actual fish that is for sale and will be the one that is sent to you if you are to make the purchase. So very exciting. I am completely overwhelmed. And that's all I have to say about that, in the words of the great Forrest Gump. Couple of other things that I did want to mention. Well, let me turn that off because
that is so annoying.
Yeah, it is. Now there is one more website thing. This is not an announcement or anything like that. Well, I guess I could make the announcement. We got everything in stock now. I mean, we got an unbelievable amount of shipments last week. But if you are an Apple Pay person, I've only had this issue with one customer so far. When you go on our website to order fish, when you get to checkout, you're going to have options for shipping. Those options are getting ready to change. The weather's still pretty nice here and in a lot of areas, but the weather is going to change pretty soon, and we're going to actually only have overnight or priority express available through U.S. Postal Service, or overnight through, or next day air through UPS. But I don't think you get that option if you use Apple Pay. I had a customer say that. She ordered and it went to the standard shipping, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's not going to work because that's like 4 days. And she immediately emailed me and was like, hey, I don't know what happened, but I wasn't able to order the proper shipping. And so we took care of it. But if you are an Apple Pay person, which I think we've literally had like 5 customers use Apple Pay, not for fish, but for just regular orders. Regular orders, it's fine. Yeah. But with fish, it's a completely different checkout process. So try to skip the Apple Pay if you're going to do that. Because you won't be able to get the right kind of shipping. It's just going to be standard USPS, and I won't ship it that way. I just won't. I'll be emailing you saying, hey, I'm not going to send you a box of fish to Colorado and have it be 4-day shipping. I'm going to be, no, I can't do that. But some places, if you live local, that actually would work. If you live, maybe in Virginia, but if you're halfway across the country, it's not going to work. So just know that going in. Maybe skip the Apple Pay button. And if there's a setting that I can't fix to make that work, then I might just get rid of Apple Pay altogether. I don't want to do that because I am an Apple guy. Everything I have is Apple, but I got to do what I got to do. Last thing, this is not about the website. This is about my friend Rack. And let me tell you, I adore Rack Cross. Everybody knows that. But he is not the best person to have a texting conversation with. Because you send him a message and you might get an answer 45 minutes later. And he messaged me earlier to remind me to mention this today. And because I promised him I would last week. And in the mayhem of last week's live stream, I was just out of it and forgot to, and I apologize about that. But I told him I would remember to do it this week, and he reminded me, and then I texted him and said, hey, where's the link? And he hasn't answered me.
Wait, for his new...
Right, for his new channel.
Candy would have it.
I'm sure she does. And if you do, Candy, it would be an amazing thing if you could share that, or anybody that has the link to Rack's new channel. He's got a wildlife 24/7 live stream.
Honey loves that channel.
It's a very, very cool thing. He hit me up. He called me the other day and he's like, you got to start one of these. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't have anything going on. But it's really cool. And because he told me about that, I ended up going on to his channel and some other channels. And I'm like, I get it. I could see watching these.
I've been watching those for quite a while just because of the cats. I'll, go in the bedroom because I got a couple in there too. And I put the little tablet up with the, the birds chirping or the mice running around, one of those, and the cats just love it. And it's so funny because I end up having to keep them from the tablet because they want to touch it. But anyways, it's super entertaining.
They want to bat at it.
I know.
That's the funniest thing to watch.
It's so cute. I love it.
All right. So that's really all I have, unless you had anything else pressing that you wanted to talk about. We can move right into maybe get through this first wave of super chats and then we'll get into the main topic.
Definitely.
While we go through these super chats here, folks, I want you to do something. The topic today is water.
Yeah.
Where you get it, what you do to it to make it right for your aquariums. So it's kind of that's what the poll has to do with that you did yesterday, which has gotten quite a bit of traction on it.
I haven't looked at it.
10,800 votes.
Really? Wow.
Where you get your water from and then what you do with that water to make it right. That's what I want to talk about today. And I want to talk about what we do for our different situations. And I want to talk about why we do it, what we use. And it's going to sound like an advertisement for our website, but I promise you it's not, because the products that we carry are the products that we use. That's kind of the whole point. So we are going to be talking about a lot of products that we do carry on the website, but we'll also be talking about others that we don't. So it's not all a big advertisement. But let me get to these real quick here, because we've had a few come in already because people spoil us and I don't know why. Lefty, lots of numbers, says, I can't wait for my bettas to arrive. Their tanks are all set up, plants and all. Y'all had a wonderful selection to choose from. Some really amazing looking fish. Oh, and thanks for the shout outs. Yeah, we did. We still do, but the best ones, of course, went first. And I guess that's kind of the drawback to having a what you see is what you get website, because the best ones are going to go first. And then kind of things start to slow down a little bit, but that's okay. But thank you, Lefty. I still got to figure out what box I'm going to use to send 7 fish.
That's so funny.
Kaler's Aquatics with the poop emoji. We get a lot of those these days. Thank you, Bob, for that. Fish Tank Barn with the $5 to the chip tip jar. No longer an ice cream tip jar, which is upsetting.
Maybe one day again.
Thank you, Mike. I was thinking a lot about that today. And one of my thoughts was, how would we do it? Because we have a business that we run out of this house now, and it'd be hard to break away for 4 days. But anyway.
And this time next year, it's probably going to be a lot worse.
I know. We'll be in a different place by then, but that'll just make it even worse. But anyway, Fish Room Fever with the poop emoji, like he does every single week. We can count on that. I filled out a loan application the other day and I said, but I get $1 from Fish Room Fever every Thursday. So that's got to count towards my income. Josh Share, my eyes are blurry, just because, sent in $5 for no reason other than just because. And we love that. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Amy Nicholson became a member. Very, very exciting. Members are getting a lot of things these days, although we have definitely missed these streams the last couple of weeks. I am sorry, folks. You have to understand, this is one of the biggest things we've ever done in our career so far, what we did this week. And it was absolutely overwhelming and crazy. And there's no excuse other than that we didn't get to it this week. But I hope to be kind of back to normal. Next Thursday, we can schedule a members-only members fish room tour. It'll be a lot of fun. And now Amy Nicholson will have access to that. So very cool. Josh Share, again, I'm going to have to re-watch later. I'm not home and forgot my headphones. Stay safe, everyone. Yeah, it's always annoying to see somebody walking down the street listening to somebody else on YouTube. That's weird. It's like, come on. I don't know if that's what Josh is doing, but maybe he's in his car listening to us. Who knows? But come back and see us. We'll be here till 10:30. Michael Phillips just wanted to share liquid fuel is cycling tanks in 7 to 10 days.
Wow.
Very happy with the results. 4 new tanks, cycled tanks. I can't see the rest of this. 10 gallon to 90 gallon. Follow Instagram. Awesome. Yeah. I'm assuming you're talking about the fishless fuel. Yeah, it works. I showed you right there in that video, and that wasn't camera tricks. That was the real deal. It definitely does put ammonia in there and get the whole thing going. So definitely worth it. Melissa Jeswald, I haven't lost a fish since I started neglecting my tanks a few weeks ago. Feed guppies and top off the water. I guess the plants are doing their job. I've let the hair algae take over too. You know what? There is something to be said. I've said it a million times. There is something to be said for a tank that has life in it. It might not look pristine. It might not look like a George Farmer creation, but it is definitely something that if you got a lot of stuff going on in there, pretty good shot at having a pretty good situation going on in that tank. So, yeah.
That's how my 125 sorority is. It has some algae growing here and there
And that,
on the side, and the snails clean up what they can, and I do a water change in it. I don't do anything drastic, but everything in there has a job. The shrimp eat some of the dead plants that I don't get out as quick as I should, or whatever might happen. Luckily, my plants are growing pretty decent in there, though, so I can't complain about that. But every once in a while, you get a dead leaf. And the shrimp, they love it. They eat it. And the snails go around and do their thing and lay little eggs here and there.
And when you walk up to it, it's not like it looks bad. I mean,
I can tell it's not picture perfect like you would have in some kind of like you would say George Farmer magazine, like it is when you first scape it, but it has life. It's growing. The fish are happy. Everybody's thriving. Nobody's fighting. Everybody gets along.
the funny thing is, in a tank like that is heavily planted, and you got quite a few fish in there, small fish, 125 gallon tank, and there's all that life in there. It doesn't look bad. It just looks natural. Mm. And it, somebody comes into the house and looks at that tank, they're not going to go, ugh, But if I let this tank get a little dirty, it's like, and there's hardly any decor in there at all. So there is something to be said about a heavily decorated tank. It definitely makes things easier. But anyway, that's not me campaigning that everyone just let their tanks go.
Right.
But, sometimes you can, and it's not going to be the end of the world. If your fish are thriving, then you're not doing anything wrong.
Right.
That's the name of the game right there. If your fish are happy, then everything you're doing is fine. Your tank might not look the best, but that's all subjective anyway. So.
And test your water, make sure things are okay, but,
I mean, if you got a lot of algae growing in there and the fish are thriving, and then the water's going to check fine. I mean, maybe a little on the nitrate side, but who knows? I don't know, but let's move on. Mike's Aquatics and Things pooped on us too. Lots of people enjoying pooping on us tonight. It's lots of fun. Damian Kerr with $5 and nothing said. Just, here's some money.
Aww.
I mean, think about that. That is the equivalent of you're walking through the mall and some dude just walks up, hey, here's $5. I mean, that's like, what? You'd stand there for a minute going, huh? That's kind of how we feel when everybody does that. Thank you, Damian. That's very sweet of you. Stephen P. 2003, he did pretty much the same thing, except he typed in $5. FIGH dash DOLLA, $5. Thank you for that. Furloughs Aquatics was probably the third and sixth customer.
Ordered twice, and it was so cute because you were like, Dory. That was her name, right? Is it Dory? Yeah. And you said,
maybe she didn't want her name said in front of 515 people, but okay.
I'm sorry, but it's so cute. I loved it because I thought it was the cutest name. And I was like, wow, he's got his wife getting fish now. This is great. That's so awesome.
That is good. Unless it was just him buying them in his wife's card or name or something. Who knows?
I
But
don't think so.
who knows what's going on there?
Maybe
But
she started.
but he says can't wait for me and my wife's bettas to come.
Oh,
That is
see?
awesome.
Wife,
And that's a guy that has a lot of
African cichlids.
larger fish and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're getting him into the betta world. So very exciting. Catwoman VA, another person
Yes.
that bought from us. Can't wait for my little betta baby to arrive.
Oh,
And
yeah.
thank you for accommodating with my shipping request. So glad you're back, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah, the shipping request was pretty much a no-brainer. It was, because she lives in the same state as us.
Yeah.
So makes it pretty simple. But yeah, thank you. Thank you, Catwoman, for the order. And thank you for living so close.
Yeah, you're
because
going to get your beta quicker than anybody else probably. And what's interesting, speaking of her, because I know where she lives at, Jay Wilson was there today, and he did a live stream at the fish store that I went to back in February. And we have B-roll from that store, and I bought fish from that store, and it has the most beautiful African cichlids.
let me tell you something, folks. I talk to Jay Wilson 3 or 4 times a week. I text him almost every day. And that SOB
Oh,
is in the same state as us and can't find a
do
way
you mean HOB?
to get up here.
Hang on the back?
No. SOB stands for something different. I'm not very happy with Jay Wilson right now. He
Oh,
lives
stop.
all
He's
the way across the
working.
world from us, but he's in the same state as us. That shame on him.
Well, you could have drove down there. He was working. You could have been like, hey, Jay, let's do a walkthrough together.
He talks about where he lives all the time. He lives in Oklahoma. If I was in the state of Oklahoma, I don't care if I was there for a funeral. I'd be going to see Jay while I'm there because I'm just that kind of a friend. That's just how I do things. But no, it's fun to rag on him a little bit. But yeah, he's in the same state as us and he's not coming. Matt Man B with the 99-cent poop emoji. Everybody's pooping on us tonight. Wendabala Alab. Yep, that's what the name is. I don't
There's
know.
a fly on my camera.
Is it blocking you?
No, it's getting ready to go across, though. It's so
That's
funny.
going to be funny. Wendabala Alab 808. I'm botching that, and I'm sorry, but it's a lot right there. I wish you guys shipped to Hawaii. The unfortunate thing is there's the fly. It just went across,
It did
and
it?
you could see it. The audience can't see it yet, but they will in a minute. The thing with Hawaii is shipping to Hawaii is almost like shipping overseas. There's like all these rules, and I'd be afraid. First of all, a shipment would cost $138 to ship overnight to to Hawaii. And I know that there's rules and restrictions and stuff like that. It's weird because back in 2013, we had somebody order from Hawaii and I didn't know that was a thing. I sent the package and it went just fine. It was like any other package. It was expensive, but it went and it was no problem. And then, I forget who it was that I was talking to was like, you shipped a package to Hawaii? And I was like, yeah, it was no big deal. And they're like, don't do that again. Because apparently it's almost like they have their own custom system or something like that, where they inspect things and all of that. And they don't like live animals being shipped to Hawaii. At least that's what I was told. I don't know. But there is the expense side of it too. Not the expense on me, the expense to the customer. It's just, you buy a $30 fish and then you pay $148 to ship it.
Yeah.
That just seems ridiculous. But I don't know. If there are no restrictions, then it's not a big deal. But I feel like there are those restrictions. Edward Marshall became a new member. Welcome to the team, along with Joshua McGurk. I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you so much for joining the team. I'm going to get through these last two, and then we're going to get to the main topic. Andrew Pure, I hope that's how you say your last name. Watching from an airplane. How are your bettas doing?
Pretty cool.
That's cool that you're watching from an airplane. How's the Wi-Fi on that plane? Probably better than what we have here at the house. This woman sitting across from me has been working probably 12 hours a day taking care of all of those bettas. It's absolutely beyond a full-time job. And what can I say? You're doing a wonderful job.
I think Bubbles is a little jealous.
It is, they're doing fantastic, and they're doing fantastic because of the amount of work that you're doing. It's a lot. And every day I'm kind of working on the design for our new system when we move into a new place, which who knows when that's going to be. But when it happens, there's going to be a very advanced system installed that, of course, I will show everybody on YouTube, and it'll be very cool. But I don't know if I'm going to do anything kind of like pioneering or anything like that. There's a fly that's driving us crazy here. But I already have a system in mind. I know exactly what it's going to be. And I think it's going to be something special. So we'll just have to see when that time comes.
I'm excited, honestly.
Well, I bet you are. Imagine how you'll feel about it then. 6, 7, 8 months from now, who knows when it's going to happen. Fishy Biz says, what's cracking you two? Who's cutter, Gizmo or Baby Yoda?
Gizmo.
It's cuter. Is that how you spell cuter?
Gizmo. Gizmo. I used to have a Gizmo toy when I was little, of course.
I think that says cutter.
And if you shook it, it goes inky, 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 or something like that. I can't make the noise, but it made the noise, or if you squeezed it. And I remember when I moved out, I left it there. And I went back to visit my mom, and she had given my Gizmo toy to her Rottweiler.
Oh.
And he slept with it.
Oh.
And that was like my favorite toy when I was a kid. Yep.
I'm going to have to pass on that answer because, first of all, I'm embarrassed that I said cutter because I think that's how you spell cuter, but I don't know. But I said cutter.
You say better now too, so.
It's true. I don't say all the words right. Gizmo is so nostalgic, but what's more nostalgic than Yoda? And then you have Baby Yoda, which is not really Yoda's baby, but it's a baby version of Yoda, but it's not Yoda, but it's, and boy, is he cute. So that is hard.
But Baby Yoda wasn't around back then. Yoda was.
But Yoda wasn't. Yoda was not cute at all. The original Yoda, not cute.
I mean, he was a little cute, but if I had to even choose him and Gizmo, I'd still say Gizmo.
I would say Gizmo all day long too, because that would be like, what's cuter, Gizmo or Spike? The gremlin.
I know who it is. I know this movie.
Obviously, Gizmo is the cuter
movie
of the two. Yoda, not cute. Baby Yoda. I watched season 2, episode 1 last week. Not going to do any spoilers or anything like that, but it was very apparent that what Jon Favreau went for in this episode was the people going, "Oh!" Every time Baby Yoda pops up on the screen, you go, "Oh, he's so cute." So right now, I would have to say Baby Yoda, but if you would have asked me in 1986, it would have been Gizmo all day long. All right, I'm going to have to get away from those here because I don't want to be the stream that all we do is live stream, or what? All we do is super chats. Main topic. Let me get to the poll that you did yesterday. And you think, when you look at this, it's a pretty simple one, but there's been a whole lot of votes. 10,800 votes to be exact. The poll went like this. If you don't know what this is, Lisa puts these up every Wednesday. And some of them are a lot of fun. Some of them are serious. Some of them are fun. This one was kind of somewhere in the middle. It reads like this. Maintaining our aquariums and making sure we have clean, healthy water for our fish is one of the most important aspects of the hobby. Not everyone has perfect water that comes out of the tap. What source of water do you use for your aquatic friends? That's going to start off the conversation that we're going to have. And then we're going to get into what to use to remedy some of those problems. The first option was reverse osmosis water. Second was tap water or well water, both in the same category. The third option was bottled water. Fourth option, rainwater. And fifth option, other. And somebody brought up a good point. 232 comments on this post. Somebody, I thought it was clever. Somebody commented, what is other? moon water.
Well, if I don't put other,
But I really don't know what the other source would be.
you never know.
Toilet water? I mean, that's tap water. But the least vote getter in this poll was rainwater. Doesn't surprise me. That is, I mean, it's not exactly
Some
easy to
people
collect.
Do it.
We've been to people's backyards that just have buckets all over the place in their backyards. And that's what they use to collect rainwater. Some people have sophisticated systems that are hooked up to their gutters and their downspouts, and they go into a big barrel and stuff like that. I think that's brilliant, particularly if you're somebody that lives in a rainy area. It would, here, this year, it would have filled up real fast because we got a ton of rain this year.
Oh my
It was a struggle cutting my grass every single time I cut the grass
Even
this year.
the tubs we got out there filled up. They're all filled up, and I didn't fill them up with
And
anything.
they filled up like 2 weeks after we put them out
I
there.
know.
So yeah, very pure
And
water
I
in
grew
that.
some amazing mosquitoes in that tub.
She is a professional mosquito grower.
I am a professional mosquito grower, no doubt.
Yeah. Anyway, bottled water. This one surprises me. Bottled water is number 3. And I think that when you say bottled water, I think that people automatically assume you're talking about little 16-ounce
Oh, not like
Dasani
a gallon
bottles.
Out of a jar.
Show one of those. I mean, it's sitting
Oh.
right there. Not one of those. But that's only a gallon. I mean, if you got a 240-gallon tank, what are you going to do with those? I mean, other than drink them. So, yeah, I mean, but with small tanks being so popular now, it surprises me that there wasn't more people that voted bottled water. But that was only 3%. 2% voted for rainwater, and 3% voted for both bottled water and other. And I'd love to know, that's what 300 people voted other. I'd like to know what those others are. I mean, because where are you getting it from? If you're anyway,
It could be a combination of.
or going to the creek and getting water or something. Who knows? That would actually be nice if you had a creek clean enough to do that. But
Some places do.
most of them aren't in the United States,
Not
though.
in Virginia.
7% of the vote went to reverse osmosis RO water.
I'm surprised that wasn't a little bit more.
If this was a saltwater stream, that would be the number 1, because that is the most sought after source of water in the saltwater world is RO water. They want it as absolutely pure as possible, and then they make it the way they need it with all of their stuff. That's what I used when I had my saltwater tank, was RO water, and that's the only tank I used it for. But yeah, it's an expensive thing to do for freshwater fish, and most freshwater fish you don't have to use RO water. I mean, some of them would like it, but it's not absolutely critical because most fish are bred in regular old tap water anyway. So the absolute number 1 answer, and this is the record by a mile.
Yeah.
85% of the people that voted in this poll, the 10,800 people that voted for tap water or well water. And that's just common sense. I mean, of course.
And the thing is, I wasn't going to do them separate because I feel like anything that you have to use a faucet for, it's from your house. It's from your faucet. So it's either going to be tap or it's going to be well. So.
And I think that this it would have been interesting to see the difference between the two. Because you're right, you turn the faucet on, you get water, but well water is so different than tap water.
No, I completely agree 100%, but it can be different for good reasons or bad reasons, because where I lived at before with well water, there
Me
was
too.
no daggone way I was drinking that water.
Me too.
I lived literally like maybe a mile from a landfill. I wasn't drinking that water.
Not even a mile.
That was disgusting.
I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to do it.
What story?
She lived next to a landfill. Her house didn't stink, folks. Don't go there.
But I used a lot of Sensies.
But it was maybe, I don't know. I don't think it was a mile away. Maybe it was a mile away. I don't know. But it was the King George County landfill. And there is a large flame that I guess is from their incinerator.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a massive, from the distance, it looks like a volcano.
What,
and
was that behind me the night I tripped and going up the stairs on our first date
that was the ambient light when we had our first kiss.
Oh.
It's true. The light from the flame coming out of the dump was lighting the scenery for our first kiss.
I don't remember that, but
that's where we met. That's where you fell down on our first date. That's where we had our first kiss. That's
so
where
funny.
Everything came crashing down, was starting right then and there.
A mile from the dump.
But anyway, I don't know what, but yeah, your well water there was horrible. When I lived on that farm, the well water was terrible. I had a reverse osmosis system that I installed in that house, and I had to replace the membrane like every 3 weeks. And it just got to the point where I was like, no, because those membranes aren't cheap.
White clothes were yellow. It smelled like rotten eggs. Ugh.
The toilets in my house were white porcelain toilets, but they were yellow from the iron in the water.
It was gross.
It was horrible. So yeah, had to get that out of there. So yeah, sometimes well water is not even an option. Even at our shop, this is something that we've never really talked about.
Yeah.
When we moved into our shop, the dummies that we are, we assumed that it was on King George County water. Because we lived 100 yards from that shop and we were on King George water, and we just assumed everybody there was, but this shop was not. And the reason why it wasn't was because all it had to serve was one bathroom. That was all that was in there. So they didn't need a huge water source, and they didn't need to provide bathing water and stuff like that in our shop. All they needed to supply was one sink and one toilet. So it had a well, and it was a very, very shallow well, and we couldn't use it for nothing. But we were fortunate. The landlord that owned that building lived next door. His driveway shared the parking lot with our shop. And he would come over all the time and talk. And it's unfortunate he has passed away since then. But good guy. We had a lot of fun chats with him. We were also fortunate enough. We ran a hose from his house to our shop, and that's what we used. We basically hooked it up to a spigot outside and basically ran the system in reverse, and that's where we got our water, and we just paid his water bill. That's how we did it. And it worked out pretty well because his house was hooked up to the King George County water system. So, but yeah, so wells can be very different. There are probably a lot of people, I haven't looked, but there's probably a lot of people that are posting in the chat. I have well water and it's fantastic. It's pristine. You probably do, but not all of them are that way. We've had really good wells when we lived off of Round Hill Road. That well was fantastic.
Well,
I mean, it was
that well was dug deep.
Yeah, it was like a 450-foot deep well.
I don't know.
I think that's
15 times bigger. The betas are 15.
People are picking on me for that. Look,
you exaggerate. So I usually just whatever you say, I always cut it in half. I just do because you exaggerate.
The adult jokes I could make right now, I will not do it. I won't do it. But yeah, I mean, I'm a man. We exaggerate. That's what we do. But that's what happens when you're not scripted in your videos. When you just say, hey, turn on the camera and let's make a video. And you say things like that. But anyway, it's a lot more water than what's in those little cups. And I don't care what anybody says. It's maybe not 15 times more, but it's a lot more. But yeah, wells are fantastic, and then sometimes they're also not. City water is fantastic, and then sometimes it's also not.
Yeah, it can be really bad sometimes.
We have had nightmare scenarios. I'm not going to say anything, but we had a friend today tell us that a catastrophe happened due to that person's well, or not well, but city water.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that when you're on city water, you really don't see it coming. And there's not really any notice They're supposed to put out a notice, but how do they do it? Did they just put it on their website? Who's going on the water facility or service authority website every day just to see if something's going on? Nobody's doing that. So you don't know. And you put the water in your tank and kaboom, everything falls apart. My chat just stopped.
That's what happened with my Rummy nose.
Exactly.
It was probably been almost a year now. And it shocked me because my discus were fine. And I'm so glad. But those Rummy nose were a special birthday gift. And I was sad because, well, I love them.
Also, stop with the drama. What's happening here?
Oh.
I don't know. I just look at it and Eric Furlow's a big guy. Ain't nobody messing with him. So he's saying stop with the drama. That means whoever's acting up is probably going to straighten up right now because they don't want to mess with Eric Furlow. He's one of them Florida boys. He'll take you out. But anyway, so yeah, listen. We've had the catastrophes happen. That's the number one example that you just gave. And it's so weird because the fish that everyone labels as this delicate little snowflake fish, discus, everybody talks about them being so hard to keep and they're so fragile. They weren't even stressed. Mm-mm. But it killed a dozen or so, however many.
It's because I feed them extreme krill flakes.
There we go. Ding, product endorsement. But Rummy Nose Tetras, I mean, depends on who you talk to. I would tell you Rummy Nose Tetras are very hardy. They're easy to keep. Keep them with a nice little group, and it's an amazing tank. They're absolutely one of my favorites. I sit here while we're streaming, and I stare at the Rummy Nose back there. But those died, all of them, almost instantaneously. And the discus were like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. I walked away after doing the water change because they seemed fine. I walked away, I don't know, maybe an hour, two maybe. I don't know, but I came back out and they were just all floating. I was like, oh. I
don't even think it was that long. It was not long at all. And they weren't floating. They were all stuck to the filter, remember? It was like, hello, what is happening here?
The ones that couldn't fit on the filter because they were all stuck, the other ones were floating.
So there are certain situations like you didn't have any fish tanks when you lived by the dump, but I had some when I lived on that farm, and I had to take drastic measures because that well that I had, there was no using that. This was before her and I lived together. This was before the shop. This was before all of that. I had a 10, a 29, a 65, and a 125. In fact, the 125 is the tank that has got your discus in it right now. I've had that tank forever. And I had to do water changes in all of those tanks, and I had to bring in my water from elsewhere. I had to bring in my water from my sister's house, who lived on a well. But it was a nice, deep, long well, and their water was absolutely pristine.
Miles long. That well was miles long, right, John?
It must have been at least 3,000 feet deep, at least. Yeah. More exaggerations. But I had to do that. I didn't have any other choice. I had to load up. I had a minivan that I used for work. I still do, but it's not the same van. And I would just throw, I don't know what it was, like 12 or 15 5-gallon buckets back there with lids, and I would take them to her house and I would fill them up, and it was not fun at all, but that's what I had to do. And that really sucks. So if you are someone who has bad water, figure out a better way, because the way I did it was really bad. That might be the example of somebody who really ought to look into collecting rainwater somehow, because I mean, nothing's going to be better than that. But, you got to do what you got to do, though. Sometimes we had to go to drastic measures with the shop. We had to go to drastic measures at that house that I lived at. But you got to do what you got to do if you want to stay in this hobby. Or, the tap water that we have here is great for everything that we have, and it's fine for the bettas, but it's not perfect. And so a couple of people I don't think anybody said anything bad about us doing what we're doing with the water, but we have been buying bottled water. That's what we've been doing. It's
Bottled water.
$1 a bottle, and it's
For a gallon, not
not
the
little
little-
Dasani bottles, but gallon bottles like she just showed, gallon jugs.
What did we start off? Was it Dasani? It was
Deer Park.
Deer Park. Yeah, they got
Yep.
Deer Park at first. Yeah,
We
it's only the best for my babies.
Yep. And then we went to the cheap Walmart brand. But even the Deer Parks were only $1. They might have been on special at the time. But then we found something that we thought was going to be perfect, and then we realized that it's not. And that is Walmart has this thing at Walmart's, and it's brilliant. You take 1 gallon jugs in there, and you can fill them up for 39 cents. And the water is absolutely pristine, but it's almost too pristine. It's reverse osmosis, distilled, like it's practically drinking air. It's so purified, and it's almost too purified.
And I still treat it because I don't trust any water. I don't care where it comes from. I still feel like bottled water is just from somebody's tap. I can't help but feel that way, and I'm not going to risk any of the fish's life. If we're going to buy water, I'm still going to treat it just because I don't want to risk it.
You are risking it, and that's the thing. When you go to Walmart, and I'm not poo-pooing what Walmart has there.
No,
and
not at all.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this big thing that you go into the back of the store where all the water bottles are, and you bring in your jugs, or you can buy empty jugs, which is kind of weird. You can buy an empty jug for $1 and then fill it up for
Right.
39 cents, or you can just buy one that's already full for $1. It's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
when you're done with that, you bring it back in and you fill it up for 39 cents. It's brilliant, but it's almost too good for the bettas. So what we're doing now is we're using our tap water. And I should have been prepared. If I was really trying to advertise for our website, I would have all of these things right here with me. We started using the Fritz. I know it sounds like I'm doing a commercial. The Fritz pH Neutralizer.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I was going to say guard.
Well, we use that too.
Yeah.
We put that in there too. That's why you were about to say
But
that.
you were going in a different direction than I was, so we kind of went different ways with that.
The pH neutralizer is something that I don't know how it does it. I don't know. I don't know how the Fritz stuff does half of the stuff that it does, but it removes ammonia. It removes chloramine. So it does everything that water conditioners do. It's basically an ACCR, but then it also neutralizes the pH, and neutralizing it meaning it takes it to 7. If your pH is at 6.2, it'll take it up to 7. If it's at 7.9, it'll take it down to 7. I don't know how it does it, but it does it. I'm sure somebody out there that knows science would know how that happens, but it's a brilliant product. It works. I've tested it 1,000,000 times. It works, and we absolutely love it. It's brilliant, and that's what we're using. You use a teeny tiny bit of it in a 1 gallon jug, and then you put a little bit of the guard in there because the guard is basically stress coat. It's the same product
Dark water.
as stress coat. But we're not doing that anymore though.
Yeah, I use the dark water. I still use half, even though I cut up little catappa leaves and stick in
Okay,
there
yeah.
too.
We are actually putting the catappa leaves in there now too, because we're not as much worried about the way it looks. I am not a fan of looking at 150 tanks with gorgeous fish in water that is tinted that color that the catappa leaves give it. But that's the best possible thing for them, particularly in the situation that they're in. So not doing an advertisement of how we keep our fish. I'm just saying we adapted to what we have. We had a situation. We didn't like what it was. So we tried something else. We didn't really like that either. And now we're doing things a completely different way. And we're going to be able to do that until we move to the next place, which when we go to the next place, my goal is going to be, we're not moving our home, but moving the business into a different spot my plan would be to have some large water storage tanks. This is for a business, so I understand not everybody's going to be able to do this for their home aquariums, but I plan on having some large water storage tanks, which I can then treat with whatever we need to treat it with, depending on the water that comes out there. It's actually a mile down the road from that house that you lived in near the dump. Just told everybody where it is. Everybody's going to come and see us now, but
there's more than one dump in King George.
This is very true. But when you say the dump, everybody knows. If you're in King George, everybody knows where the dump
and
is.
with
but
the flame.
Yeah, the ambient,
the
beautiful, romantic flame. Makes me think of that Bangles. Is it the Bangles song? Eternal Flame? Anyway, it's either Bangles or Go-Go's, but I'm pretty sure it's Bangles. We may have to adapt again when we get over there to be able to provide the right situation for our fish. This applies to everyone. That's why this is a good main topic, because everybody's going to have to adapt their water. Or you can do something that I used to preach a long time ago. If you want the easiest way to do fish keeping, you buy fish that go in your water that you have right out of the tap.
Right. Well,
now,
pH.
Right. I mean, unless you're on a well.
No water's going to be perfect for a fish that has ammonia in it. I mean, even a goldfish would probably be a little upset at that.
Sure. Yeah, they absolutely would. But you don't have to do any kind of adjusting of the pH, whether that be chemically or through hardscape or whatever it is that you're using, peat moss in a sump or whatever you're doing to lower the pH, soften the water. If you just get fish that go well in that situation that you already have. You have really hard water, you get you some African cichlids, they're going to be fantastic. Everybody's going to love it. Get you some guppies. If you're right around neutral, your bettas are going to absolutely love it. Most community fish are going to love it. Your discus are going to love it, all of that. I mean, it's easier to do that than to be chasing a pH. But when you're running a business, we can't all live in a situation where you turn on the tap and the water's coming out perfectly for our fish. Right. Yeah, there might be expensive systems that we could buy, and maybe we will, that adapt the water for us, but I don't know. I don't know how all those things work. I've never had to buy a water filtration system like that. So I don't know what we're going to end up doing there, but our good friend Discus Hans has a very similar situation, and he's raising, breeding, selling show quality discus, and he does that through Baltimore tap water. Yep. And when he told me that for the first time, I said, "You're doing what? Tap water? What?" And he said, "It comes out of the tap at 7.6. And I'm like, "For discus?" "Yep." And he said it in that wonderful accent that Hans has. But what he's doing is he's bringing it into 4 large, I don't know what they're called, but they're those water tanks that have the metal cage around them. They're used in the food industry for all kinds of different food grade things. And then a lot of guys, if you've seen one of these, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of auto detailers put these in the back of their trucks and drive around with water. And you see them driving down the road and the water's sloshing around in the back of their truck. Mm-hmm. They're great for that. It's basically a water tank that's surrounded by a protective cage. You could roll it down a hill and it would be okay. Those are 275 gallons. Of course, our neighbor used to sell those.
Yeah.
He doesn't anymore, of course, but there's plenty of things. IBC totes. Thank you, Mike. Yes, and Moist AF. I know what that means. Yes, thank you for that too. Those are great, and I'm going to track down 4 or 5 of them when we get our shop. I actually, this is sad, and I regret it so much, even though I don't know what we would have done with them. I had a guy tell me when we had our shop, he's like, "Hey, I'm from Lynchburg," which is...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it's about 3 hours from us, I think, 3.5 hours from where we live. He came all the way to our shop from there, and he said, "I've got a whole bunch of these in my backyard. Come on down, pick up as many of them as you want, however many we can fit in the back of your truck." I was like, yeah, and it's just one of those things. I never was able to do it, and I wish I had. But to be honest, if I had, we probably would have gotten rid of them by now, because we wouldn't have wanted to move them from place to place. But they're not hard to find. You can find them on Craigslist. You can find them all over the place. So I will get one when the time comes. not one, but I'll get multiples, and I'll hook it up to the water to where it's turn a valve to fill them up, and I'll treat it through the little hole that's in the top, and I'll put whatever we need to in there to get it right, and send it out to the tanks. But this is what we do as fish keepers, whether you're doing it to serve hundreds of betta tanks for a business, or you're doing it for your home aquariums. Obviously most people are not going to put 4 or 5 275 gallon water storage tanks in their basements, but you could do the same thing in little 40 gallon Rubbermaid totes, or the wonderful, we've got 2 of them, the Brute trash cans that you can. It costs like $60 to buy the trash can and the little roly-poly thing that goes underneath it. I know this because we just bought one. You use it every day for your water changes. You can do it in that. I used to do that when I had as a matter of fact, the one we have in the garage right now, which we actually use for a trash can, still has a hole in the side because I hooked up an auto shutoff, which never worked, but I put it on there, and that's where I did my RO water for my saltwater tank. Was in that tank, and I would have a lid on it, and it was perfect. So those are absolutely fantastic for water storage. And then you can stick a pump in there and pump it out to all of your tanks. It's perfectly fine. If you have to do that, then that's a great way to do it. I know people that have a lot of small nano tanks, and they just make their water in 5-gallon buckets. Hey, whatever you got to do, if you need to do it. Sometimes, I've known people through the years that have water that's just a wreck, and they don't do anything with it until it's in the tank. I've known those people too. However you do it, if it's working for you, that's fine. But for us, when it comes to the bettas that we're selling, we like to have it all mixed up and all ready to go, and let it sit for a little while, a couple of days actually, in the room where the tanks are, that's heated to 80 degrees. So it's up to the same temperature. And then we use that when we do our water changes. Sure, it's easier. I don't know. Is it easier? It's probably not easier to take them all to Walmart and fill them up, but that's actually not easy at all. And everybody looks at you funny, like, what are they doing with 46 1-gallon jugs of water?
Our water got shut off. That's what you say.
But then you walk out.
We didn't pay the water bill. We have to take a bath somehow.
I don't remember what you were doing the other day, but I took all of them, and we've got like 60 of them, and I took them all at one time, and I had to make like 3 trips into the store with carts full of these water bottles. And I swear I had 12 people come up to me like, what is that you're doing there? And I'm like, hey, it's 39 cents a gallon. You can't get any better deal than this. And it was, whatever. I looked like a weirdo, but thankfully I have a mask on. So, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes. And that's actually, it's a great way to do it. But then again, it's also not what we're going to do anymore. But for some fish, it might be perfect to do that. If you like fish that really like that super soft water, or maybe you're a saltwater person and you're looking for that source of RO water, you're used to going to the pet store and filling up your 5-gallon jugs and paying however much money. You might be paying for actually pre-mixed salt water, but they have huge RO tanks at these places too. You can go to Walmart and get the same thing for 39 cents. It's not salt water, but 39 cents a gallon is pretty daggone cheap. So, but when it comes to what we're using and what we're using here for all of our tanks, we are both big, giant, humongous fans of Fritz Guard, because it is the identical product to Stress Coat. I'm sure if anybody from Fritz is watching this, they're probably like, oh God, how dare he say that? But it's the same kind of a thing, where removes chlorine, chloramine, and has that additive for the slime coat. With Stress Coat, it's aloe vera. I don't know that they use aloe vera for in Guard, but it's the same consistency. It's the same color. It's the same everything. For all I know, Fritz might make Stress Coat. I don't know. They make everything else in the industry. But great product. We use that. I've used Stress Coat for years and years and years. Prime is a phenomenal product. Fritz Complete would be the same as Prime. Absolutely phenomenal products. There are so many people out there that will not use anything but Prime. And I don't blame them. I just hate the way it smells.
Oh, yeah, it smells funky. Reminds me of the water that used to come out of the well at the house I lived at by the dump.
It's that sulfur smell. It is bad, but it works. And, so it's kind of like one of those things that you just deal with because it works. But it is what it is. That's why if I'm going through the cycle, if I have an ammonia issue or if I'm having problems using Prime, using Complete, no brainer. But if everything's going fine and I'm just doing a regular water change, we use Guard. And if we don't have Guard, we use Stress Coat. But we sell Guard now, so we always have it. So we just go grab one off the shelf and have to remember to take it out of our inventory. It's one of the benefits of owning a business like this. But so it's easy access for us to use Guard now. But to me, they're equal as far as Prime, Stress Coat, Complete, Guard, same things as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully I haven't offended too many people that work for either of those companies. But Seachem, API, Fritz, they're all making good products. We sell them all except for API on our website. We do have Prime now and Seachem Flourish. We have both of those. Those are the only Seachem. No, we just added the Beta Basics, which is another product that
Beta.
I'm
Beta Basics. Why would they call it Beta Basics? Beta sounds better with basics.
I could not agree more.
Okay.
You're copying me because that's what I said yesterday. You're trying to act like you're smart. I said
I'm smart.
You're very smart and good looking too. I totally lost my train of thought. I said you're good looking. No, it does absolutely sound right. Just like our friend Taylor, her channel Simply Beta sounds so much better than Simply Beta. I don't know. It sounds like you're a Creole person and you're like that's trying to say that's simply better, but you say it with that accent. That's simply better. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Don't look at me like I'm a jerk. I didn't just say anything bad, but that's what it sounds like. Somebody from the South. That's simply better. It sounds better to say Simply Beta. It sounds better to say Beta Basics. So I've changed my ways and I am willing to make the sacrifice and start saying the word beta.
I'm just going to make fun of you for it.
But I'm not going to be able to do it when it comes to Beta Basics or Simply Beta.
It's okay.
That's okay with you?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So we did just bring in that product, and I was testing that with the pH neutralizer. They both work, and they both do a great job. I feel a little bit more confident with the pH neutralizer, though. But I don't know that it's a better product. But I hope she doesn't roll right off of the table. But yeah, there you go. The things we do to make our water perfect for our fish. And we've talked primarily about betas and discus because, I mean, betas are not overly finicky about their water, but as close as neutral as possible. They're going to be the happiest. Discus these days, depending on where you buy them, some of them are going to be perfectly fine, water right out of the tap, and some of them are going to be a little bit finicky on that. But all fish have a parameter that they're looking for, that they're going to thrive in. Doesn't mean they're going to die if the pH is 0.5 off, but they'll be happier.
And the most important thing is to just keep it consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to chase the pH.
Look at Lefty. Always got to be paying money to get in his 2 cents, quite literally. All right.
$2.
I know. Furloughs Aquatics again comes in and says, Dory didn't mind that you said her name.
Aww.
She got a Bubbles shirt too. That's awesome. Yes. Yep, that's very cool. I mean, you know, some people don't want their names out there. Yeah, I mean, I
just think
understand.
it's a cool name. I like the name Dory. So it's like he obviously liked fish before he met her, you know, because he married somebody with the name Dory who's named after a fish. Except I would have thought saltwater fish, not freshwater. So I'll just stop.
Maybe the fact that Dory is a blue tang, maybe that's why you thought about saltwater fish. But yeah.
I'll just stop.
We could always start calling Eric Nemo.
Hey, that's cute.
Why wouldn't we? Of course we would do that. Harleen Cower, I hope I'm saying your name right, with the 99-cent hearts, just hearts, and they're so adorable. Kaler's Aquatics comes in with the $1.99, and it has, I don't know what just happened. Everything skipped, and I lost it. Sneak peek. That was at 9:30. I'm wondering if what's he talking about, sneak peek? I don't know what he's talking about. Sneak peek of the new betas that we have in, or that, I don't know what you're asking for. But there ain't nothing to show a sneak peek of. We do have some fish, some betas that will be going on the website. That
maybe when you talked about the large shipment coming in.
Could be, but they're not ready to go on the site yet. They just came in, so we're not going to give you a sneak peek of those. They look fine, they look great, but I don't know what you're asking for a sneak peek of. If you want to see the system that we're keeping our betas in, just watch the video that we put up on Tuesday. It's there. Plain as day. That was kind of the reason why we did it, even though we knew we were going to get a lot of people just giving us crap for it, but you can't please everyone. Mike's Aquatics and Things is giving a happy, loving kitty cat for Lisa Marie.
Thank you.
And then Delana Silva comes in with the black cat. It's past Halloween. You're not allowed to use that black cat anymore. It's only a few days past Halloween, though, so we'll give you a pass. Unicorn Girl Meh. I found tiny snails in my tank. What should I do? That's one for you, because you're the snail person.
But I'm not. I mean, I like snails. So what I would do is just leave them alone and let them grow up and be big snails.
Yeah, they're not going to hurt anything. I mean, the biggest problem that people find with snails is not that they hurt anything. It's just that they become overwhelming because they breed so rapidly.
But I love them. I think they're cute.
Yeah, it's I like them too. But, I have seen tanks where I was like, whoa, you really like snails, huh? But yeah.
And that ram's horn snail I told you about today, it was definitely a survivor.
Yep. Yeah, that was an interesting story for sure. Do you want to tell that story? No, you don't want to do that.
Why
no,
not?
Let's not.
It's fine.
Okay, go right ahead.
Well, I have these the cubes that we keep the betas in. I had some plants in there that Lefty had sent me, and I didn't realize there was a ram's horn snail on there. So when I had taken the plants out and went and stuck them in the tanks, I stuck the little cubes in the sink. I was going to clean them all out because, some of the plants got stuck on there or were dead or whatever. So I just wanted to clean it out. But I left it in the sink overnight. And the next day, I cleaned them. I was doing dishes. A little while went by. And I looked in the sink, and there was this little ram's horn snail just inching its way up the sink, still alive. So I cleaned him off and stuck him in the tank with King George. But he survived. He was not ready to go.
That's good.
Cutest little snail.
Snails are very, very hardy. That's for sure. Delana Silva again said that cat was for you.
Aww.
And she is glad that you're back. So thank you for that. Aaron Sullenberg became a member. Got a lot of new members showing up. That is very exciting. Sorry, I'm getting texts while we're talking here. Mona's Happy Fish Fry. My John and Lisa beta died. First John died accidentally, got stuck. Okay. Whew. I was like, wait a minute. We haven't sent anybody any fish yet. What are you talking about? Let me start over. My John and Lisa beta died. First John died accidentally, got stuck to a cholla wood.
Aww.
Lisa stopped eating and died 3 days later from a broken heart. That is a very common story.
Aww.
That is a very common story. And it's just so very sad that their name was John and Lisa.
It's cute, though.
Can Do gives this was at 9:46. I hope you are still with us. Gives the $4.99 Keep It Up exercise pair, which is adorable. I love those. Kaler's Aquatics again with the kaboom. Apparently we dropped a bomb at 9:46. I don't know what that was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. You just helped me so much with this.
I know.
Mike's Aquatics and Things. Again, Lisa's new Black Kitty Treat Fund.
Aw. Yeah,
Somebody must follow you on Instagram.
yeah, I have a new cat in town. And he's so cute.
She texted me probably the same picture you posted online. I didn't even know you
Yeah.
posted it. And I was like, oh, here we go. We already have one of those that looks exactly like that one.
I know. So if I got another one, you wouldn't even know. He would just be
Blend
there.
right in.
You wouldn't even know.
Wait a minute. I just saw that cat over there. Wait.
Oh, Pluto's out today, huh?
It would not surprise me at all. Alex Sulewiski with the $2. What's the longest time you went without water change? That is a really, really good question because we kind of talked about it early. I will tell you, and people are going to look down on me for this. I did a water change in my 360 yesterday, and it was the first water change I had done in at least a month.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Now, that's a 360-gallon tank with about 40 gallons worth of water, or maybe even a little bit more, in the sump. So we're talking about 400 gallons of water, and there's only 6 fish in there. No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 6 fish in there, and maybe a vampire pleco that we haven't seen since we put him in the tank, but he hides behind that log in there. So you're talking about a tank with 6 fish in it that are, they're dogs. We feed them every day. They eat really well. They're growing like pigs. They're eating like pigs. They're growing like weeds. But it's 400 gallons of water. I mean, 400 gallons of water does not foul up. It takes a long time to foul up that much water unless you had 62 African cichlids or something like that in there. So the water was fine. The fish were perfectly fine. Nobody was acting drowsy or lethargic, or everything was perfectly fine.
And you know what? Those Oscars are jerks anyways.
Yeah, they killed one of the arowanas, but
I don't like your Oscars anymore.
shame on you. Can go. No, I'm not going to do it. You have one of the shirts, and it has the picture of that glorious Oscar on it. But
He's a jerk.
I still think it was the black one. But anyway.
No, it was that white one.
But I saw the black one chasing it around.
But
See,
it was the white one because I know he's the jerk. I feed them.
okay,
I
that's
know
fine.
which one is the jerk.
That's fine. Anyway, but that, the thing is, your aquarium tells you when you need to do water changes. If you're somebody, I've preached this forever. If you want to keep this hobby easy, then be testing your water regularly, a lot in the beginning of that tank's life, and keep going, keep doing it. And you're going to get into a system where you're going to realize through testing it that, after 3 weeks, my water is still perfectly fine because I only have a few fish in here. I'm only feeding them once a day. I don't overfeed my fish. I have a lot of live plants in there, and everything's fine after 3 weeks. So why do a water change if everything's fine? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I've kind of always preached that. Like, if your tank is fine, you don't need to mess with it. If you're in a situation where you have a tank that is heavily populated, like my 240 is, and there's a lot of big fish in there and you're feeding them a lot, and the water fouls up after a week and you notice things are not looking very good, you just can tell, you're just looking at, okay, it's time to do some maintenance. But if everything looks good, the fish are good, everybody's happy, why mess with it? Anyway, I don't know what got me off on that tangent. Probably just made a whole lot of people mad at me. But
Well, you can't do it with 10 gallons, so I'm constantly having to clean those tanks out.
sure,
That's the
true.
bad thing about having 10-gallon tanks.
Yep.
But they're better than 5.
We had this is a very perfect example of bad parenting. Our oldest child had an Oscar that was my Oscar, my albino Oscar that I had for years and years and years. That Oscar went through some stuff. It was in a lot of kids' bedrooms. He was in all over.
He got beat up. I had to save him.
Yep. That fish was in a 10-gallon tank, and he was a teenager. He was like what was he, like 15? I mean, he was a young kid. He just didn't care. I don't think he even really wanted the fish in there, but he was like, that'd be cool. And the water got down to like that.
In the what, 10 gallon?
It was a tiny tank. The fish was still small, but I mean, the fish, this is embarrassing.
I was not into fish then, so it wasn't my fault.
And
you gave him the fish.
It turned out that his filter leaked, and he just decided not to tell anybody about it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but he probably holds the record for the longest time without a water change. But it just so happens.
He lived for years, like years after that.
Yep. That was when he was young, and he made it a long time. Josh Scher, Ayo, I'm back. Oh, good. He's not walking down the street looking funny to everybody anymore. Opinions on play sand for Stingray substrate. Here's my thing with play sand. I've used it with stingrays before, Motoro stingrays. It never hurt them. It never bothered them. Motoros are very hardy stingrays. But the problem that I had with that, it's really cool, but then it's also not after the kind of novelty of it wears off. If a stingray gets spooked, it goes, it flutters, and it basically buries itself in the sand, and all that's sticking out is its eyes and sometimes a little bit of its tail. It's fascinating to see that happen. But then after a while, it kind of gets old because it's stirring up sand, which can go into the filter, and it blows sand everywhere, and all your decorations get covered up in sand. And it's kind of like, okay, that was cute, but come on, do you have to keep doing that? So to me, I think the best substrate for stingrays is no substrate at all. That's my personal opinion. Now, if you have a large tank, Joey has that 2,000 gallon pond. The filtration is up high. It's an overflow filtration. There's no threat of any damage from that kind of thing happening. And it's a giant body of water. That would be a little bit different. I would not have a tank like Joey has, bare bottom. I just think that would look cheesy. So I would, just like he has, I would have sand in that situation. But in an aquarium, if you've got an input for your filter that's down kind of low, I don't know if I would like that. But it looks cool, and it's fun to watch them do that a couple times, and then it's kind of like, come on, stop. We got to get through these real quick. We only got 8 minutes left. Matthew Meyer, I would challenge anyone complaining over your betta prices to look up Japanese koi show prices. Wish I had room for a new one myself. Yeah, you know what? Whether it's Japanese koi or any koi for that matter, whether it's show quality discus, listen, whatever it is that you deal with, you're going to have high-end stuff. There's going to be fish retailers out there that are selling the higher end stuff. They're not ripping you off. They're selling you fish that are at a different level than what you're used to seeing in the cups at the big box stores. And those come at a price. Just like the Japanese koi. Yeah. I mean, I've seen, what was it? Eric Triplett did a video about a koi that was worth like 300 grand. Oh my. Like, are you serious? Wow. That's a house, a nice house. So yeah, I mean, some of these things get absolutely absurd, but I've seen $900 arowanas, Asian arowanas, which we can't buy, are in the thousands. I mean, things get crazy. Matthew Meyer, again, I transport water from a local lake runoff spigot that has the best water in my area. I transport 80 gallons a week in 8 gallon containers. Okay, so 10 of them. See, there you go. There's your answer. That Matthew Meyer is somebody that clicked other. He must have, if he participated in that poll. If you want to participate in those polls, it's not a membership thing. It's everybody is available. Just go to the community page on our channel every Wednesday morning, and you'll see those on there. But anyway, yeah, that's good. It sounds like what I used to have to do when I had to go to my sister's house to get water. It's cool for a while, but then it's like, oh, I got to do this again. And it's wintertime. It's cold. You know, it's a chore. Here we go again. This skipped again. Wow. We're way far behind. Is water the same from every source in your house? For example, bathroom versus the hose outside. I'm thinking about keeping my big tanks in the garage. For us, it is. and we've actually used water in fish tanks from every floor except for the second floor.
No,
Technically third floor.
second because
The bedroom floor is what I'm saying. We don't have any tanks up there.
I don't have a tank up there because the cats. No.
I'm going to be honest with you. Some people might frown on this, but I have a 360-gallon tank. I've been talking about it today. When I fill that up after doing a water change, I do it out of the garden hose. Criticize me all you want, but I do it out of the garden hose because it's faster and the pressure is higher, and I'm just going to be honest, it's easier. And the water is exactly the same as it would be if I was doing it out of the bathroom sink, which would take me all day. When I do water changes in that tank, I do 50%. So you're talking about 180 gallons of water. Come on. I mean, I'm pulling out the garden hose.
And it's just for the Oscars anyways.
Well, the Oscars and the Arowana and the Plecos and the Gold Severums, don't forget them. Our Severums in there now are like, they're getting to be
gorgeous.
Monsters. Yep.
Yeah, I love them.
Catwoman VA says, you are a weirdo, but we love you anyways. I don't know what I've said, but yeah, I am. I mean, it's true. I can't even argue with that. Lefty is he's yelling beta. He's saying beta. But we had him on our live stream and he says beta. So I don't know what he's talking about. Doesn't he? I don't know. We can argue about that later.
I don't remember.
Hey, Lefty, how come you don't answer emails? Just wondering. Colton Curry. Hey, y'all. Colton here from Wisconsin. So starting my first salt tank, 46-gallon Beaufront. What filter would you recommend? Hang on the back or canister? I don't want to run a sump. When it comes to saltwater tanks, I personally, I don't have a lot of experience with them, but the filter that I used for mine was a built-in sump on the back of the tank. It was one of those Fluvels, which was a really cool tank. I loved it. Very, very similar to what a hang on the back filter would be. So for ease, I would probably use a large hang on the back filter. That's what I would do if I was going to start another saltwater. No, I mean, I would go big and I would do a sump, but that's just me. If it was a small tank, I would have no problem doing a hang on the back filter. I don't know that I would go canister. I don't think it's a problem, but I certainly don't know enough about saltwater tanks to confidently say that. But I still do like the idea of the Fowler tank someday. Fish only with live rock. Whips World with the poop emoji. Haven't seen Whips World in a while. Zach Wild himself. Stephen Early just wanted to say I can't wait for my beta, guys. Thank you.
Aww.
Awesome. I'm going to do it now for all the people that have come by here. This is this is how many orders there are that are going out Monday and Tuesday. It's madness. It's absolutely. I'm probably not going to sleep Sunday night, and I know you're not either. It's going to be crazy. I hope you are part of that stack, and that is going to be very, very cool. Kaler's Aquatics again with the purple alien person kissing their biceps saying boss. It's very cute. I don't know where Bob comes up with these things.
I guess I'm the boss.
Of course it was you.
It was me.
Catwoman VA, I got to get through these. It's 2 minutes. Your King Beta videos made me fall in love. I said beta. With the 14-gallon rimless. So right now I'm setting up one. I got on sale today. Should be ready for another beta soon. Yay.
I love the 14-gallon.
Mine is right there.
It's the easiest one, in my opinion, to keep up with. The tank. It really is.
They're very easy. I'm not a huge fan of the lid because you got to stick your fingernail under there, but it works. But yeah, I like that tank too. I look at mine all day long. Scott keeps me company. Punchy Paints with the 99-cent poop emoji. Haven't seen that name in here in a while.
Hey,
Thank you so much for that. Mainly Betas was in our video the other day, right? Or is that this coming Sunday?
Let me see.
There it is. Mainly Betas, if you weren't in the video we did on Sunday, you're going to be in the one coming up, meaning I'm going to be reading your comment and responding to that. So yeah, be looking for that. You guys are the best. Any idea when you'll be getting NC Shark refill cartridges? No. We just got the little replacement sponges. It's a pack that comes with the 2 blues and 1 white, which are the same ones that come with the 800. But the cartridges are impossible to find. Nobody has them. So
I think I just ordered some, didn't I?
you ordered the sponges.
Right.
And you ordered the cartridges for the Micron.
That's right.
Yep.
It's the Micron.
Lefty, again, because that's what Lefty does, didn't even notice prices until I clicked checkout. Oh, boy.
Lefty.
They are beautiful fish, so price doesn't matter to me.
Wait till you see the red dragons.
And the Koi Galaxy number 8. I'm telling you, that's...
No, I'm talking about the new ones coming in.
Oh, yeah. Listen, folks, for the ones that are still here, 542 people here. We've got yellow fancies coming in that are going to absolutely blow people's minds.
Star tails.
I mean, it's primarily bright yellow and white. And then we've got the red dragons, which are basically, if you've been on our site or if you're just a betta lover and you've seen them.
The yellow dragons and the red dragons.
The black samurai, except it's red and white instead of black and white. Oh, it's going to be glorious. Yeah, it's so much fun. I just love it so much. They're so cool. We got to shut things down. It's 10:31. So last minute, of course, again, Whips World, thanks for the stream, folks. Thank you so much, Zach. And Catwoman VA, attach an acrylic knob onto the lid. Problem solved. Yeah. I mean, that's, of course. You know what I've used before? The
little...
what are they called?
We used to use them on the ones at the fish store when we had the fish store. And you would...
It's
the double tape and you stuck it on there. What was it?
Well, what I'm talking about is the ones that are the hooks that you stick to the wall and then you can pull the little tab and it comes off.
Oh, that's
we use those. So it's like a little hook. You put it on the top of there and it, we've used those quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, I would do that, but I just don't. I feed Scott through the little crack and it's no big deal.
That's how I feed.
Yeah, it's
George.
It's easy. Last one, Waddles with Wolves. Congratulations on the betas. I'd buy one if my late beta's tank wasn't being turned into a triops tank. Triops. Am I missing something? What's a triops? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's a spelling error. Maybe it's a spell check thing, or maybe it's something that I don't know about. I don't know. But either way, I have been guilty in the past of taking up way too much of Fish from Fever's time. He is streaming tonight. Right now, he's started. I'm sure he's already started. So there you go. I have had so much fun here tonight. Even though the world was crashing before we started, it turned out to be a lot of fun. But you know how I end this thing every single time.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun, and we'll be here next Thursday to do it all again. But enjoy your weekend and go check out Fish from Fever. See you later.